Alright, shalom, shalom to the nation of Israel, shalom. Alright, this is your brother Kazakia out of Great Millstone, New Orleans, coming at you with another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Shah, right? But prior to getting started, we want to give our infinite honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, HaKadash. The honors to the elders and apostles at Great Millstone, who rule and teach well. Peace, blessings, and salutations be to the hopeful elect scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, right? And the title of today's lesson is going to be The Truth Will Be Hated, okay? That's the title of today's lesson, is The Truth Will Be Hated, okay? And this is, I want to play this video real quick that a brother posted from out of the chat. And this is basically going into, DJ Nero, okay, 47, coming down on basically the prophets, okay? All right, and basically the truth, all right, because, these people, as far as the truth's sake, they're losing sleep, okay, overnight, and, this is like a constant, irritant to them, all right, because they have their plans, they have their agendas, okay, which is the NWO, to provide the people with a one world government, a one world belief system, basically a one world currency. Everything would be underneath the helm and rule of these Edomites, man. Okay, Esau, Edom, the Edomites, the so-called white man. Okay, and basically, long story short, he wants to enslave you, so these people, the different elders, and bishops, and different teachers, starting at Great Millstone on down, who has his truth, will be completely demonized, okay? And, even before I start the video, they even took the elders, video and made it basically an AI voice overview, okay? Where, we know when we heard it, we knew that wasn't the elders speaking, but this is Esau, this damn wicked ass devil, man, the so-called white man, blaming the ministry for things, okay? Because the time is going to be coming soon where basically, in so many words, the truth itself, will be outlawed, man, okay? But I'm going to go ahead and get this here in the spirit. Let me see. Let me double check this. I actually didn't. All right. And we'll get some precepts, and Lord willing, this is edifying. All right.
You can be a communist or you can be a patriot. You cannot be both. As for those who peddle Marxist lies about our heritage, tell our children that we live on stolen land or that our heroes were oppressors, they're doing something much worse than slandering our past. They are slandering and attacking our future.
So that was Donald Trump giving a speech earlier this evening at Mount Rushmore, where he told the crowd that you're either a communist or a patriot, but you can't be both. And listen up, Indian country. He went on further to say, as you heard, that you can't tell their children that this is stolen land. Come on, man. And also that their heroes are not oppressors. It's so hard not to cuss right now, but I'm going to keep it professional. He also went on to say that they're not going to let that happen, which to me is a direct threat on people's First Amendment right, freedom of speech. We all know the actual history of this country and how it came to be. And it's not pretty. And Trump and his administration are trying to rewrite history. As earlier in the year, when he directed his Department of the Interior and Doug Burgum to start removing anything that had to do with slavery from all the National Smithsonian museums. We directed them to start removing images from all the national parks, like at the Montana, the Battle of the Little Bighorn, because they don't want people to know the real history of how this country is founded. They are trying to rewrite history and trying to remove all that information that shows the United States in a negative light. Well, I'm not sorry for letting my followers know, and anybody else out there who's listening, that this country was not built in a good way. It was built on stolen land, as exhibited from the hundreds of indigenous tribes that were here way thousands of years, hundreds of years, thousands of years before this country ever became a country 250 years ago. Indigenous people were here. Indigenous people are going to be here long after this country is no longer a country. And to say that we're a Marxist, a communist, because we believe that, and that they're not going to let that happen, what, threaten our freedom of speech? To say that their heroes are not oppressors? Come on, man. Not only is this stolen land, but all the treaties that the United States made with the indigenous tribes broke every single one of them. And they're trying to not fulfill what little trust responsibility they have to the Indian tribes. And to say that their heroes weren't oppressors, slavery, you don't consider that oppressing an entire race because they're black and enslaving them, bringing them from their own country, from Africa, to work your fields and your you don't think that's oppressing? But you want to threaten people to, if we're going to call those people that built this country that way by stealing land and by making another entire race slaves, that we can't call that oppressing? Get out of here, dude. Get out of here.
All right, man. And, there you have it. Okay. In so many words, the truth will be completely, outlawed. It will be completely, banned. And I just, have this picture here, and this is just art, right? And you can see around, the Jake, in this picture, he's basically saying he's basically speaking the truth, but the world around him is against him, right? You can see some of the signs here that says, hate truth, cancel them, truth is hate, ban, stop the truth, okay, lies, propaganda, whatever, anything to, discredit, the truth. It is, what it is, man. This devil wants to shut the mouth of the prophets, and he's going to do it by any means necessary. It just is what it is, all right? Because he mentioned within the video, he says, you're either a patriot or a communist, and in so many words, just to put it, more in layman's terms, is either you with us or you against us. That's pretty much it. Okay? So if you're not a MAGA fan, and you're not for, they're, basically down with their cause, ultimately for the NWO, because it's going to get worse and worse, as things go on, as they, implement these lockdowns and different laws that requires, troops to be on the streets. Okay, because I don't think I don't think we can say the other word, but you brothers know what I'm saying. You know, okay, and they start enforcing some, crazy, wild, wicked stuff, man. Okay, but ultimately, you know, we have, the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, and by Hashem Yahweh Shai, on our side, right? We're going up against the whole world, and I say this all the time, brothers are behind enemy lines, okay, and ultimately have, targets on their back. That's nothing else, that you could say, besides that or about it. That just is what it is, right? The guy also, mentioned in the video that if you speak out against your whatever your Marxist or whatnot, you can't call their forefathers oppressors, man. This is screaming and yelling volumes of what the truth is about, man. Okay, because that's pretty much, in so many words, that's what the ministry speaks on, man. Okay, the ministry speaks on Esau, Edom's wickedness, okay, his downfall, his history, okay, and to be frankly honest with you, Esau is just tired of hearing the truth, okay. Imagine everywhere you go, somebody's always, just shining a light on all the things that's wrong with you. It's annoying. It will be annoying. It's an irritant, and you don't want to hear it. Okay. So since you have power and control, over the earth, what do? Okay, you be, given power by the Lord. Obviously, you just shut the mouths of the people that's, talking. Okay, whether that be by via, destroying amendments, placing new things in order, through your agenda, to stop, what you want to be done. Okay, to stop the people from speaking the truth. Okay, and I'm gonna start here first real quick, get a few precepts. All right, this is Amos 5 verse 10. It says, they hate him that rebuketh in the gate, and they abhor him that speaketh uprightly. All right, I read the same verse here in GNT. It says, you people hate anyone who challenges injustice and speaks the whole truth in court. And that's the just of the people, in general, right? The wicked, 2/3 of our people, all right, they hate the truth, okay? And Esau definitely 110% hates the truth, okay? So there's a strong disdain for the prophets, man. And that disdain will grow and grow as he begins to, frame us, and blame us for things that just simply aren't true. As I spoke on earlier in the video with the elders and apostles, okay, taking their, basically doing an AI voiceover to make them say things, they didn't say or whatnot, and then I believe even within the comment section, they talk about, and it could be, an agent, or it could just be AI, making comments, speaking about how we got to uprise, against Esau, okay, and take him out by carnal means, okay, which is by the flesh. Okay, and we know the scriptures say, let's get this real quick. This is Zephaniah 3, and verse 8. It says, "Therefore wait ye upon me, saith the Lord, until the day that I rise up to the prey. For my determination is to gather the nations, that I may assemble the kingdoms, to pour upon them mine indignation, even all my fierce anger. For all the earth shall be devoured with the fire of my jealousy." Right, so it's all about the Lord, man. Okay, wait on the Lord. The Lord's going to be the one to kick it, what they say, kick Esau ass, at the end of the day. Don't get me wrong, brother, the Lord's going to raise up brothers, have spiritual power to mess Esau up too, protect the elect, and, do whatever works and whatever means necessary, but we aren't taking a stand ourselves, and doing those things, that's, basically, the scriptures tell you that the weapons of our warfare is not carnal, but mighty to the pulling down of strongholds, okay? And, so everything we do, it pertains to the spirit, and if you really look at, Esau lately, he's basically been trying to get Jake riled up to be carnal, okay? He's been, parading around in the streets, trying to get Jake to be the blame, the face to be the blame of whatever type of violence or whatever, okay? And these carnal-minded Jakes are, long story short, they're eating it up. They're basically giving this man, what he wants. He wants to show you as an animal. He wants to show you as a predator, okay? So he can justify and have means to come down on you with a sword, All right, this is Isaiah 10 and verse 1. It says, "Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and that write grievousness which they have prescribed." Okay? And that's Esau, right? Whole egg in a nutshell. All right? He's the one that, writes these, unrighteous decrees, these different laws, things put in place, that turns the earth itself, so-called unrighteous, right? Upside down, and, as of now, he's been given the power to do so. But soon, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, will return and take this devil from out of power, okay? All right, let's go. Let's get, I believe this the one I want to get. This is Psalms 37 and verse 12. It says, "The wicked plotteth against the just, and gnasheth upon him with his teeth." Right, so yeah, the wicked man is plotting against the just, right? Scheming, planning. So yeah, but how we gonna get these, how we gonna get these dudes, man? How we gonna take them out? What we gonna do? What's the plan? What's the action? Right? The scriptures already tell you what it is. It says the accuser of thy brethren is cast down, man, which accused them before the Lord day and night. Now, that goes into, Esau basically, seeing him being the author of mischief, getting the people to sin and go off, and coming, basically to the forefront and saying, yeah, these your people, but look at what they doing, So he finds ways to make Jake go off, man. Okay. And it, and we not let's get this here. real quick, and we'll close out. This is 2 Corinthians 2:11. It says, "Lest Satan shall get an advantage of us, for we're not ignorant to his devices." Okay, we're not ignorant, to his plans, man. We go to this word device, it's Strong's G, 35 verse 40. Noema, or noema, okay? And it says a perception that is purpose, or the intellect, disposition itself, device, mind, thought. So we know the thoughts, you devils, man. Okay, you're not going to be able to get away. All right, we know that you hate the truth. Okay, we know that you, like the scripture said right here, the wicked plotteth against the just, right? Okay, we know that you're plotting against us. Okay, it was already written within the scriptures. All right, so this, it's not a, it's not a surprise attack. All right, the only people that's going to be caught off guard is the people within the world, man, really, right? The 2/3, okay? Those are the ones, man, all right? And, the rest of the people that's asleep or whatnot, all right? Let's go here. All right, this is Proverbs 29 and verse 10. It says, "The bloodthirsty, okay, hate the upright." It says, "But the just seek his soul." All right, I'll read the same verse real quick in the GNT. Okay, it says, "Bloodthirsty people hate anyone who's honest, but righteous people will protect the life of such a person," man. Okay, and who's more bloodthirsty than Esau, Edom? Okay, the scriptures tell you, because thou basically, didn't hatest not blood, okay? Blood will pursue thee, man. Okay, and like I said, what the scriptures say is devil power is the sword, okay? And he would take peace from the earth, and he's done just that. All right. But guess what, man? It's not over, right? It's not over till the Lord, till all the prophecies be fulfilled, okay? And we're basically, caught in the middle of a spiritual war, man. That's going to lead to a physical war, okay? Through the heavens, man, where Yahweh Shai will send forth the angels, to come back with the angels to save the elect of the nation of Israel, okay? Because, again, we're not carnal men, okay? We don't use any type of, so-called, what's a good word for this? We're not coming up with, weapons or anything like that. That's not a part of our ministry. The Lord said, if this was my kingdom, then will my servants fight, man. Okay? So when the Lord does his thing, then, Lord willing, we'll be a part of that number. We'll be with him to do our thing, I'm just saying that as the world says, in all manner, of righteousness, okay? Yeah, but, that's, pretty much, all I have, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Shai. Hey, look, man, this devil said, if you're not a patriot, you're a communist, man. If you're not with us, you're against us. They want to rewrite history as though they never took or stole anything, right? If you speak against their so-called forefathers as oppressors, right, as murderers, as liars, okay, you will be punished, right? So our thing is, we got to know when we're involved with this ministry, we got to know that this devil plans and plots to come up against us, okay? And that's okay, because, you know, when he does come up against the ministry and he comes down, you know, on the prophets, you know, hard, that's when the Lord's going to make his move, okay? But, you know, that's pretty much all I have, you know, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Shai. Hey, look, the title of today's lesson will be The Truth Will Be Hated, man. Okay, that's the title of today's lesson. The truth will be hated, man. So be on the lookout, you know. Stay vigilant. Stay circumspect, man. But with that being said, I would like to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Hakadosh. Double honors to the elders and apostles at Great Millstone, who rule and teach well. Peace, blessings, and salutations be to the hopeful elect scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, all right? Kwam Yasha Allah, Abba Ball, Shalom.